Hey there guys, and welcome back. On this week's show, we're making a children's learning toy. Well, I thought it would be fun to do a project like this week, and it will mostly be done on the scroll saw. Why? Because I can and because I thought it would be fun. This is a very accessible project to anybody with the minimal of woodworking skills, and it's also a great skill builder for the scroll saw. So the whole thing starts off with some 3/4 pine. Well, this whole project starts with a piece of 3/4 inch pine for the base, and this piece is 2 1/4 inches wide and it's 13 1/8 long. So the first thing that I want to do is I want to draw a center line right down the middle of our base. We also need a center mark, and on that center mark coming in from each side we will place a mark at 1 3/8. And then right in between our line at 1 3/8 and our center line, we will divide this area exactly in half and place another mark on our center line. And at this point we can center punch each one of our marks, and we will place a 5/8 diameter Forstner bit hole in each one, and they will be 1/2 inch deep. Now you have to remember that there's going to be little hands playing with this. So I am going to take each one of these sharp corners, and using a circle template, I'm just going to mark off a 5/8 diameter circle to round off each one of these corners. Then I'm going to take it over to the belt sander. I will sand that off, and then we can carry on with the next step when I get that done. And at this point, I'll put a 1/8 inch round over all the way around on both sides of our base. And at this point, we can get rid of all of our pencil marks and give the whole piece a really good sanding all the way around. You now need some 5/8 diameter dowel, and you will cut the first one at 2 3/16, the second one at 2 7/16, the third one at 2 15/16, the fourth one at 3 1/2, and the last one at 3 15/16. Now what you're going to want to do is soften the top edges of all of these, give them a sanding, and then glue them into place here on your base. And we can put these aside and let the glue set up. While we're waiting for the glue to set up, we can make the rest of the pieces. And what we need for that is some 9/16 of an inch thick pine. With the base completed, it is now time to make the shapes for the toy. So the first thing that I have here is I have some pine. It is 2 1/2 inches wide, and I have planed it down to 9/16 of an inch thick. So now it's time to draw the shapes. So the first thing we're going to start with is the circle. So we will need one of these, and what we've done is we're going to set our compass to a 1 inch radius, and we will draw a 2 inch circle on our pine stalk. We now need to draw out 2 rectangles, and they will be 1 1/4 inch wide and 2 inches long. We now need 3 triangles that are going to have each side measure 2 1/4 inches. We now need 4 squares, and they will be 2 inches by 2 inches. So the next thing we need to draw is 5 pentagons, and that's a 5-sided figure. So we'll just draw a center line here. And we want each one of these sides to be 1 1/4 inches long. So from the center line, we'll measure out 5/8 of an inch from each edge. That will give us our 1 1/4. From there, we just need to draw lines extending out from those points. Now, these lines, I have this set for 18 degrees. That is 18 degrees off of 90. So really it's a 108-degree angle. I guess it depends on what plane you're measuring it from. So there we have our 2 lines. From there you want to measure up from your bottom corners 1 1/4 inches. Like that. And another one on this side. And then we will line up our digital protractor here with that line and draw from that point up to our center line. And we'll do the same thing on the other side, and that will give us our pentagon. All right, just like that. So we need 5 of those. I'm going to draw them out, and then we'll see you when I get that done. Now, before we carry on any further, what we want to do is on each one of our shapes, we're going to find the center point, and we will drill a 3/4 inch diameter through hole in each one of these pieces. And with all those holes drilled, we're now going to take this over to the scroll saw and cut out all 15 shapes. And with all of our pieces cut, we will now give them all a good sanding, making sure to round off any sharp corners. You got to remember, there's little fingers playing with this. We don't want anything sharp on them. So I'm going to get all of these sanded up and the corners rounded, and then I will come back and show you what we ended up with. So with all your pieces cut and sanded, what do we do with them? Well, it's simple. We have one circle, goes on peg 1. We have 2 rectangles, goes on peg 2. 3 triangles, goes on peg number 3. 4 squares, goes on peg number 4. And of course our 5 pentagons go on square or peg 5. See any similarities or things that are going on there? Well, we got 1 side for the circle. We got peg 5, 5 sides, 5 pieces. 4 sides, 4 pieces. 3 sides, 3 pieces. Now this one here is a bit of a stretch, but I kind of see it as you have 2 equal sides. 2 here and 2 here. So that is 2 of those. And of course the circle is just 1 side. That's 1. Now, variations of this, how about if we put some numbers on the front here, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5? Or how about if we were to paint each one of these? Before you glue in your pegs, paint each peg a different color and then paint your pieces the corresponding color. So if this circle was, I don't know, purple and this peg was purple, the child could learn to place the purple circle on the purple peg. Now you have color recognition right there. As well, motor skills of being able to slide that hole right on top of that peg there. That builds motor skills for the child. Shape recognition, circle, rectangle, triangle, square. Well, this one might be a little advanced for them, but you know what? How cool would it be to have your young one know what a pentagon is? as well as that number recognition here. If you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and being able to count, learning slowly to count from 1 to 5. It all starts somewhere, guys, and this is a great way to spend an afternoon to start your child or somebody else's child on the right pathway to learning. And there you have it. A child's learning toy. Guys, this project is dead simple, and I mean dead simple, and it has so many benefits to the child. If you paint it or color your pieces to match your pegs, as I said in the previous clip, you learn color recognition, you learn motor skills, you learn counting, you learn shapes. There are so many different aspects to this toy, and it's so simple. Truth be told, I saw this in a toy store for, well, you know what, I'm not going to get into the price, but it was way more than what I would ever consider paying for a few pieces of wood, especially given the skill set that I have. This thing here, guys, probably cost me about $2.50 in stock, and a couple hours in the afternoon to make it, but it was a couple hours well spent. Now, you can make all kinds of variations of this. You don't have to do the shapes that I did. What about animals? You could color out or draw out little animals. Just go on the internet and get silhouettes. If that young child has a favorite animal, say like a horse or a turtle or something recognizable like that, you could very easily get a pattern for an animal silhouette and cut it out instead of the shapes. You could do farm animals, barn animals, household animals, pets. You could do birds. You could do whatever you like. It's just a great way to teach children different things. I mean, I learned I could count to 5 today. Guys, I want to thank you so much for tuning in to today's show. It's been a lot of fun, and it's been one of those projects that you can make yourself at home regardless of your skill level. If you don't have a scroll saw, don't sweat it. Use the bandsaw. If you don't have a bandsaw, use a fret saw. If you're not that good with a fret saw, cut around and sand up to the lines. There are all types of ways for you to do this project for any skill level, and you know what, honestly, I honestly encourage you to give this one a try. If you haven't already, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. Click that bell so that you don't miss notifications of future episodes of the program. Guys, this one's been a lot of fun. Pine's kind of a hated wood in the woodworking sector, but you know what? I chose it for this project for its forgiveness. It's very easy to work with, and it doesn't have those sharp, harsh, hard edges like, say, maple that could hurt a young child should they, you know, jab themselves with it or whatever. So pine's very forgiving. Guys, I hope you've enjoyed today's content. I hope you're going to try this for yourself. And more importantly, I hope you're going to join me again next week when I bring you yet another woodworking video. Guys, just as a little side note, if you are interested in making this project, you know what? Drop me an email at acutabove_woodworking@hotmail.com or send me a message on the channel's Facebook page, and I will be more than happy to send you a PDF for the pattern for these pieces and for this toy puzzle. Guys, thanks again for tuning in. I'll see you next week.